Question 8. A bag contains 60 beads. X of these beads are red and the rest is green. Altaf takes at random a bead from the bag. State in terms of X the probability that Altaf takes a red bead. So probability of taking a red bead is the number of red beads, that's X, out of the total number of beads, that's 60. So that's going to be X out of 60. Altaf puts his bead back in the bag. Another 20 red beads are added to those in the bag. So that means that the total number of red beads now is going to be X is what it was before, plus we now have another 20. There will also be a total, if it doesn't say here, but the new total, the new total of number of beads will be 80. Then it makes the statement that the probability that Altaf takes a red bead is now doubled. Well, probability that Altaf takes a red bead now would be X plus 20, because that's the number of red beads, out of 80. And if it's doubled, it's saying that that is twice as much as it was before. Well, it was X out of 60 was the probability of getting a red bead before, so we have 2 times X over 60. So that's an equation that we can set up just based on these three sentences. Just so happens that that's actually what it wants us to do here. Write down an equation of X and show that your equation can be expressed as follows. So we've got to end up with this equation here, and what we have there is what we start with. So big difference straight away, and one thing I would recommend doing anyway if you have these in a question is as soon as you see fractions, do something that gets rid of them, basically. Now, we can actually simplify this first. We have a 2 over 60, but because I went and said get rid of the fractions first, I think that's a good play. What we can do is multiply both sides by a number that will get rid of both of these. Now, it just so happens that if 80 and 60 both go into 240, so if I multiply both sides by 240, just use a different color. If I multiply both sides of this equation by 240, that's going to get rid of both of these. What it would look like before we cancel is as follows. We would have a 240 multiplying in a bracket, we'd have to put in a bracket, x plus 20 over 80 equals 240 times 2 times x over 60. And then that 240 over 80 would cancel down to being 3 over 1. That 240 over 60 would cancel down to being 4 over 1. If we simplify that now, we would have, well, just tidying up the left-hand side, I don't need to write it over 1 anymore. So we would have 3 bracket x plus 20. Normally I'd be tempted to break that out, but I've just noticed, that's what we're looking for. That's what the question wants us to have. And then on the other side, we have a 4 times 2 times x. If you multiply them together, you get 8x. And that's our answer. Now, if at this stage here you maybe thought, well, actually, I just wanted to multiply both sides by 80 and then both sides by 60 together, then you could do that. It's just the equation you end up with would then need to be simplified because this is what the question wanted. So there are other ways of doing this. What I've done is technically the most efficient way. Barring maybe I could have done 2 over 60 to turn that into a 1 over 30 straight away. So I could have done that and then multiply both sides by, well, I would have still multiplied both sides by 240, so it wouldn't have actually made much of a difference there. Anyway, part 2, solve that. So our equation here, being asked to solve it, first thing we're going to have to deal with here is breaking out the brackets. So if we do that, I'm going to end up with 8x equals 3x plus 60. Then I want the letters on the same side. There are more of them on the left, so let's get rid of that 3x on the right by minusing 3x on both sides. It will leave us with 5x here. It will leave us with 60 there. And then divide both sides by 5. And we will end up with x equals 12. Done.